You can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. However, if you know how to speak strategically and create a special moment, you can create a thirst where they want to drink. And so when I got to the end of my presentation, I looked at them and I said, right now I want to talk to you about Dr. Howard Thurman, who was one of the mentors of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Albert Schweitzer and Mahatma Gandhi. And when I was diagnosed with prostate cancer and my PSA was 2,400, I was pondering about my life. Am I going to beat this? And I was reading his words for comfort, and he said, the ideal situation for a man or woman to die is to have family members praying with them as they cross over. But imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the ghost of the dreams, the ideas, the abilities given to you by life, but you, for whatever reason, you never pursued those dreams. You never acted on those ideas. You never used those gifts, and there they are looking at you with large angry eyes saying, we came to you, and only you could have given us life, and now we must die with you forever. The question is, if you died today, what dreams, what ideas, what gifts will die with you?
Family, hold up. Before we get into the rest of the broadcast, the show, this amazing movement, I want to make sure that you're following me on the gram. Make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast as well as to the YouTube channel. Also, if you want to get some content that is not being shared online, make sure you sign up to that Patreon. Again, this is your boy ED. Yes, I am back in the building and nothing has changed. We will be bringing that straight hot fire. Well, you know how we do. Well, let's get back to the broadcast, but I just want to step in real quick. I'll be coming back with my commentary. Let's get it.
I just went to Cleveland recently. I have investment in a daycare center there, 3, and so I went there to help to create a new type of curriculum that will help young people early on begin to develop the communication skills that I think that's very important in becoming successful in life. That's major, your mindset, but also to have a value for life, that we see so much violence as children. They said over 200 acts of violence when children are raised in a culture. And the study that was done by Dr. Seligman in the book called Learn Optimism, the 26-year most exhaustive study on self-esteem, said that between the ages of 0 and 5, that we develop permanent personality characteristics that follow us for the rest of our lives. And so I wanted to develop a curriculum that would teach children that life has value and that your life has value, to change their vision of themselves and to interrupt how they see themselves based upon being in a hostile culture. This is a hostile culture for people of color. And so to me, one of the most important things to help people to overcome the psychic disrepair is creating a curriculum early on, and what we talk to parents about, that our children are molding today what they will be in the future. When I was a kid, I was born in an abandoned building on a floor with my twin brother Wesley, and we were adopted. When I was 6 weeks of age, I was labeled educable, mentally retarded when I was in the 5th grade. They put me back from the 5th grade into the 4th grade. I failed again in the 8th grade. I have no college training. So being identified and labeled as DT, the dumb twin, it gave me a lot of things to overcome. And one of the things that Dr. Seligman said, that when you are between the ages of 0 and 5, a word is formulated in your heart. That word is yes, or that word is no. So when you're raised in poverty, that vision of yourself, that culture, those circumstances, those conversations, those things that you observe, they begin to create the lenses from which you see the world. And so to overcome that it's a major, major challenge. They did a study of some top achievers and successful people around the world, and they wanted to find out what was the common denominator among them that enabled them to reach their goals. And what they discovered that 85% of them reached their goals because of their attitude, their vision about themselves, and 15% because of their aptitude. So school, as you know, has been focused on reading, writing, and arithmetic. It does not consider critical thinking and the conceptual education, and it does not help young people begin to mold a vision of themselves that will allow them to be an asset to our society rather than a liability. In fact, particularly when it comes to children of minorities, one of the things that the school systems do, they track and determine based upon the failure rates of African American children and Latino kids in the third grade. Based upon those failure rates, they determine and extrapolate from those numbers how many prisons they're going to build. So if you can track failure, you can also track success. So when you come up in an environment that is, one, designed to destroy your sense of self, and two, give you and provide for you an inferior education. Like when I came up in school at Booker T. Washington High School, the money that was allocated to educate kids on Miami Beach and Coral Gables versus Booker T. Washington High School, it's just tremendous difference. And when we got books, we got the old books that were 5 and 6 years old, written in, pages torn out of. And when they gave the test on the new books that we never got, and they said that we were inferior, we believed them, because the newspaper said so, and we bought that. And so one of the worst things that you can do is provide an environment and get people to buy in a lie about themselves and cause them to live a small life as opposed to a life of achievement, because the culture is designed to hold us back. When I graduated from high school, a white high school dropout had more of a chance of getting a job than a black college graduate. So that kind of environment destroys your sense of self. My mother was working for a very wealthy family. She worked for wealthy families on Miami Beach. And I remember Mrs. Swiderski. She cooked for these families, and we ate the food left over from the families that she cooked for. She kept their children, and we wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that she worked for. And when I had the assignment of cleaning Mr. Swiderski's office and shining his shoes, and he was listening to various motivational recordings, this is reel to reel. This is before 8-track and before cassettes. And those words I had no idea while I was shining his shoes, listening to people like Jim Rohn. When the end comes for you, let it find you conquering a new mountain, not sliding down an old one. People like Zig Ziglar, if you give enough people what they want, they will give you what you want. Listening to some of the words of Winston Churchill, the truth is incontrovertible, malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but at the end, there it is. And so I had no idea, while shining his shoes, listening to these words, that it began to restructure my vision of myself. How people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. I train speakers how to discover their story, how to tell their story, and how to transform people individually and collectively by creating an experience. When I came into the speaking industry, it was based upon the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill's book was a good book, and they considered that the Bible of the motivational speaking industry. Well, I come to know because of my mentor, Mike Williams in Columbus, Ohio. He wrote the book called The Road to Your Best Stuff. He said, Les, if information could change people, everybody would be skinny, rich, and happy. So he said in order to change people, you have to create a significant emotional event, that you have to interrupt a person's story that they believe about themselves with your story. And through the delivery of your story strategically, you dismantle their current belief system and inspire them to make new choices. Because at the end of a presentation, if you don't change how a person sees themselves, and if you don't expand their vision of themselves beyond their mental conditioning and their circumstances, and begin to allow them to get a larger vision of themselves and begin to ignite their spirit, you touch their hearts, and as a result, they leave your presence feeling better about themselves, but making new choices, because when you change how they see themselves, all you have to do after that is to get out of the way. One of the things that I spoke the other day, And I wanted this group of people that I was talking to, I wanted to challenge them to get outside of their comfort zone and to become uncomfortable with where they are. There's no saying you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. However, if you know how to speak strategically and create a special moment, you can create a thirst where they want to drink. And so when I got to the end of my presentation, I looked at them and I said, right now I want to talk to you about Dr. Howard Thurman, who was one of the mentors of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Albert Schweitzer and Mahatma Gandhi. And when I was diagnosed with prostate cancer and my PSA was 2,400, I was pondering about my life. Am I going to beat this? And I was reading his words for comfort, and he said, the ideal situation for a man or woman to die is to have family members praying with them as they cross over. But imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the ghost of the dreams, the ideas, the abilities given to you by life, but you, for whatever reason, you never pursued those dreams. You never acted on those ideas. You never used those gifts. And there they are looking at you with large angry eyes saying, we came to you. And only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever. The question is, if you died today, what dreams, what ideas, what gifts will die with you?
If you're new to the Impact Secret Podcast Show, welcome to the family. To my existing family, big up as always. Thank you for joining the movement. On this podcast show, we shift the mindset through inspiration, motivation with a standing foundation of self-discipline. I am your respectful host, ED. For all you smart and intelligent folks out there, here, listen, check this out. It just simply means Ed. You know the motto, you know the slogan, you know what we do here. Bet on yourself. You won't win unless you get in the game and play. A quote that we live by here is, you never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have. Bob Marley. Hey, check this out, family. If living means doing what you love to do, even if you have to fall to get back up again and again and again, I'll do it every time. One question, two thought-provoking statements. First question, what lie are you buying into? Again, what lie are you buying into? First thought-provoking statement, the common denominator of success, attitude. The common denominator of success, attitude. And the last thought-provoking statement, interrupting your story. Interrupting your story. Well, you know what we do here. We got to get to work. So let me get to work for you, family. Today's episode is entitled The Path to Becoming Your Best Self. I don't know why I did that. The Path to Becoming Your Best Self. As you can tell by the speaker originally, one of my inspirations, Les Brown. It was amazing. Some of the content that he was talking there, it really resonated with me because of the whole aspect of growth, of understanding attitude. See, the attitude, family, I'm realizing is really a game changer. I don't know about you, but there's been situations where I've been, whether it's been a job or, a friendship or any type of relationship in which I may not have had the skill set, but I had the attitude. Because, see, you have to understand, family, your attitude allows you to be in places where you may not need, or you may not have the skill set to be. Let me slow that down. What I mean by that is that you have the attitude where you're like, well, I'll figure it out as I go along. I will make adjustments. I will adapt. I like what Damon Dash recently said. He was on Club Shay Shay. If you haven't checked out that show, please go support that brother, Shannon Sharp show, Club Shay Shay. And what he said was, and I'll quote him what he said. He says, you can always make things happen. You should never think about the reasons why you can't. You should always think about the reasons on why you can. Man, we may need. I wish I had I might have to start getting some sound effects for some of these bombs I'm dropping on you. And I hate using the word bombs at this time, but what I mean by that, family, is I love, again, Damon Dash is one of those people that inspired me a lot. He makes me think outside the box. He pushes me to believe that don't allow people's limitations to be placed on you. You have to dream big. And if you don't dream big, if your dream is not scary enough to other people that's in your circle or even outside your circle, then you're not dreaming big enough. Family, how many people have given up on their ideals or given up on their dreams because of the fact that of the fear of failing? And see, that's because of the education, or this educational system has taught us that failure is a negative connotation or a negative thing to have. But I'm here to testify, if you allow me, that I failed so many times. I've shared with you in the opening podcast of yesterday of how I failed the PMP 3 times, and most people would have given up. I failed at certain relationships that I thought for sure were going to be there forever. I failed at this thing at life many times, but the goal in the opening sentence or statement of this show that I always say is that it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter if I'm able to fail many times. I'm still going to get back up. See, my attitude is like, I'm getting back up anyway. I'm like that punching bag deal where they had it usually be sand or some type of weight in the bottom that keeps, every time you hit it just keeps popping up, and it's frustrating. You like, lay down, and it won't lay down. Well, I am that. I refuse to lay down. I refuse to give in. I refuse to give up because of the simple fact that I know it's in me. There's no way that you can tell a humble kid coming out of Michigan that anything is not possible. I won't believe you, because I've seen the impossible happen in my life. I've seen the impossible happen around me. I've seen the impossible happen through my mentors. And so I'm here to challenge you, family, of what lie did you buy into? Who told you couldn't do that? Who said that you don't have the capability, the capacity, or the growth to be more than what you want to do? So you want to make a career change, make it. Stop depending and waiting for a permission slip. I don't know about you. I remember when I was in high school, and I don't know if they still do this anymore, but in order to go to the bathroom, you had to have a permission slip. And when you didn't have a permission slip and you were in the hallway, you were deemed as someone that was either trying to skip class, or basically you were up to no good. And so because the hall monitor, as they put it, they would come and get you, and then they would put you into another classroom, in which was a detention. You're probably asking me, how do I know this? Because see, for me, I skipped a couple classes. I'm not here to brag about that, but I'm trying to still a point that, family, sometimes that we have hall monitors in our life we are trying to seek a permission slip to be great. Forget trying to get a permission slip from them to be great. When are you going to take it upon yourself? See, one thing about self-care, self-love, self-determination, it starts with you. There's nothing that anybody in your immediate circle, extended circle, or whatever your circle looks like, can give you that inspiration and motivation if you're not open and willingness to accept it. I was reading an article one day, and it was talking about leakage, as far as meaning like where you can pour into something, and if there's a hole in there, it doesn't matter how much you keep pouring, it is going to eventually come out that little small hole or big hole. What am I saying there? Let's unpack that. What I'm saying is more or less that You have to start with you. You have to believe in you before you can get anyone to believe in you. And most of the time they still won't believe in you. And that's cool, because now you know that you're on to something. See, you have to have, like I shared with you earlier, you have to have a dream, as Damon Dash had talked about, so crazy that people look at you crazy. If you've seen my board of my goals, some of the things I'm doing, I told you I'm doing a mixtape. I've never done a mixtape. I don't even know where to begin. But you know what? I'm excited about the journey and what I'm going to become going through the journey. I didn't know anything about podcasting or YouTube and everything like that. But see, what the thing is that I was able through progression and not emotions to excel, meaning that I actually did it. I actually didn't wait to or that permission slip to be great. Matter of fact, you need to check out that episode about the getting a permission slip to be great. I don't know why I'm on that term right now. But as Les Brown was talking about that study, as far as, and I don't have the facts to back up the study. I only know personally that my attitude of just the way I look at things is that when someone is looking at it as a problem, I'm like, oh, this is the opportunity in something. You see, originally I'm listening to a podcast now with Business Wars. If you haven't seen that, listen to that. I'm sorry. If you haven't listened to that, please go check that out. That's another good podcast, and where they talk about the various business wars. So the one that I'm listening to is the one of Apple and BlackBerry and Steve Jobs, where, most people seen a problem and they complained about the problem of the BlackBerry. Steve Jobs went and seen the opportunity to go and create the iPhone. And it talks about kind of how the iPhone didn't even have nowhere close to the market share that the BlackBerry had. Okay, that's not a good example for you. How about the example about when Netflix and Blockbuster, if you don't recall, there used to be video stores called Blockbuster, and it used to be a lot of different video stores, Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, and all these things. And Netflix came in and disrupted that whole industry. And so a lot of times, family, you have to understand that you have to be a disruptor, because you have to disrupt not only what people think about you, you have to disrupt what you think about you. Because if you continue to think and live small, then that's the result that you're going to get. So family, I won't hold you too much longer as we're warming up to on our road back to making sure we continue to drop these shows. I want to challenge you today. I want to push you today to make a decision to pick up that dream or that vision that you've been laying down. And I'm going to challenge you this every day that I get on this mic, that God gives me a chance to get on this mic, because I know there's someone out there that I'm going to spark and inspire to do something. It's not that, see, I can't do the work for you. All I can do is inspire you and say, hey, you got the ability to do it. Hey, what are you waiting for? Hey, it's never going to be a perfect time. It's only progression over emotions. You know how we move. So family, I'll close with this. I challenge you to have your story interrupted today. If you've been doing the same thing and you've been getting the same results, how about trying something different? That is my challenge to you today. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope it was valuable. And I've been your humble host, or your respectful host, I should say, ED. And this has been another Impact Secrets podcast show. Peace.